So today we're doing some body panels. Most of the car is in actually pretty good condition, but usually there are some rotten parts, deformity, or for whatever reason you may need to replace a sheet metal panel, and those are pretty easy to install. Some are not. In my case, I have this plug here, and it was a pretty easy patch to do. I'm not a really good welder, but I have no trouble doing this. So usually what happens here is you have a grommet for the excess water to drain out, but you're not supposed to actually have water inside. So yeah, I had to make a cutout a bit larger than where the hole was, and made the patch here. What I'm trying to do now is replace this piece, which is called the floor to firewall panel, because there's some rot here on this panel, and I have my panel here. The way you go about doing a patch like this is you don't need to replace the whole panel and cut out where the seams are. Usually those are spot welded. It's easier to just make a cutout to where you need to remove the actual material, and then trace the actual piece that you've cut out to make an exact replica, because those panels will be butt jointed, so the gap that will remain between the good metal and the patch that you're cutting out should be about 1/8 of an inch maximum. Larger than that, you're gonna run into some issues to build up material. This is pretty thin sheet metal. It's less thin than modern sheet metal, which is usually 22 or even 24 gauge. So I'm actually gonna cut this out and hopefully have it pretty close. I might have some spot welds here to remove, and then should be good to go.
As I started to work on fixing the body panels, it quickly became obvious that I was under-equipped for the task, even though I spent thousands on tools that I've never used before. Again, I'm a woodworker. Metal is a whole new thing for me. Sure, I could ask some body shop and have it fixed in a couple days, but the more I grow old, the more I understand that this is not who I am and how I do things.
This joint here is actually spot welded. Those two pieces of metal are overlapping, so I need to drill those spot welds out in order to get the whole panel to come out. In order for me to drill those spot welds, I can use a standard metal bit, or I can use a dedicated spot weld drill bit. A little bit more expensive, but they make a cleaner job when the teeth don't break, of course. As we can see, they're pretty hard to spot. What I can do is try to get some water and cleaner here. See if I can see those little depressions. There's a spot weld here. You can see there's a slight depression in there, but the rest of them are really hard to find. So we can see here are two spot welds here
And there's our big one here. Other than that, I can't see another spot weld. I can't go underneath it because there's a what's called a torque box that's welded onto the subfloor, so you can't really see what's going on in there. And this is actually a good opportunity to see what's inside if there's a lot of rust on the inside of the torque box before we sandblast the whole car.
Fourth hole.
Just look at all the mess we've got here. All the dirt and debris that accumulates over the years inside the frame. I can get the light. There's so much stuff in there. I'll get the compressor nozzle, try to clean as much as I can. And when we're gonna sandblast, there are holes all around the frame there, but some of them are actually pretty far apart. So yeah, I hope that sandblasting will be able to reach all those areas. Anyways, once I'm done with sandblasting, before we paint the whole car, I'm gonna spray some, it's called rust bullet. It's kind of a, some of you might be familiar with Por 15, which is kind of a rust encapsulator, but it's one of the best on the market. And I've used rust bullet before. It's actually much less of a hassle on the preparation, less than Por 15, because Por 15 is really picky. It's a good paint, but yeah, you know, you need to use their product, wax and grease remover, then there's the metal prep, and then if you miss one of those steps, it might not work. With rust bullet, there's none of that. You can basically do a minimal cleaning, and it'll bite right into it, and it just actually solidifies. It gets really hard. So on thin sheet metal like this and floor panel, it's gonna add some strength, and then you can put some epoxy primer on top of it. But inside the frame, I'm gonna go just with the rust bullet, just so that, you know, down 10 years later, I don't have any problems at all. And yeah, it's not that expensive, so there's really no reason not to do it.
A while ago I bought this small Media Blaster spray gun, and I wasn't really expecting anything out of it. Turned out that it was extremely useful. It cleans up rusted metal extremely well, especially in those areas where you're going to spot weld pieces together, hopefully forever. Even though it's messier, it works a lot faster than a wire wheel, and it's a lot more efficient, so you don't have to worry about rust coming back in the future, and that's extremely important. I highly recommend it if your compressor can handle the CFM.
protect the metal which is behind that the new floor panel, I'm gonna use this, it's called weld copper double corrosion protection for all types of welding. It's made by Metaflux. It protects by basically applying a high copper content, because no paint will reach this area once we spray the epoxy primer. So since it's between two welded pieces of metal, I won't be able to reach those spots. It's been eaten quite a lot by rust over the years, so I'm gonna try it to protect it. Never inhale this type of paint. Very toxic.
As frustrating as it is at times, it seems I have to fail at something to learn how not to do something, and then get better at it. This project is not just about a car, as I'll talk more about it in the next video, but it's about the experience, the journey to the end, and the people I've met along the way.
On dirait que tu t'es trompé.
Un peu, oui.
Parce que méchant gap.
I've patched up my mistake. It's looking pretty good right now. All I need to do is grind those welds and see if there are little pinholes that I need to fill again. There's probably gonna be a couple.